Hi everyone, how are you? I am so happy to be back on YouTube. I know I've been gone for a long time and I'm not gonna bore you with reasons why. Full-time job, it requires a lot of me, a lot of creative energy, a lot of everything, and it is very difficult to, it was just very difficult to manage the job and being on social media. I've been at my job as an editor for about 1.5 years now. I am working with more people, we've added more people to the team, and now I feel like I can finally come back on YouTube and have that little bit of extra time in my week to be able to dedicate to you. I also want to launch digital courses in the near future. I think it's a very sustainable way for me to be able to provide you with content that'll actually really help you, and just for me to keep it going in a sustainable pace. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna leave my newsletter link below because I'll be giving you updates and giving you a lot of freebies and a lot of different things for, you know, just media in general, whether you're freelance writing, you're working in public relations, whether you want to be an editor. So anything that has to deal with media and words, that's what I'm going to be talking about in my newsletter. So I encourage you to subscribe, and the link is going to be in the description box below. As I mentioned, I've been at my job for almost 2 years now, and it's just given me such a great perspective on what an editor looks for, what we actually need from publicists. This job has given me so much of a broader perspective in terms of how communication looks and how relationships between editors and PR professionals should work. So I wanted to give you sort of my top 3 things that I look for in a pitch and that are gonna help you pitch better and get your client in the press or get yourself in the press in a more timely manner. Number 1, we're going to talk about timely pitches. If you are pitching a digital publication, they work very fast. They work on hours turnaround. The news cycle is just incredibly fast. It's incredibly difficult to keep up with because social media is always, you know, it's now beating editors to the punch. And so we need to think about how to present the content in a different way for editorial, right? So for, let's say this past week, there was the Barbie girl trend because the Barbie movie was released. You see a trend like that and you see it that it's, you know, that it's trending on Google, that it's trending on Twitter. Editors are gonna jump on it because it's gonna help us too. It's gonna help us with meeting our goals of viewership, of traffic for our website. What PR professionals can try to think about is how to connect their client in some way to that specific trend, right? So if you work for a beauty company, maybe it's like the 5 like essentials that you need to have like a Barbie girl summer or something like that. And I think of Barbie girl, I think of products, I think of material things. So if beauty and fashion, like if you're working in beauty and fashion, there's definitely a connection that you can make there. Other industries are a little bit difficult, but even travel is easy too. And do research on where they were traveling in the film, and maybe that's something that you can connect back to your travel client, or how to like get amazing backdrops in this location. Like if you're repping one location, you can talk about Instagram worthy or maybe TikTok worthy or Barbie girl worthy locations to connect it back to the trend. And the same thing goes with like TikTok trends. If there's like a big TikTok trend that's circulating at the time, you also want to be able to connect that to your client. And I've seen so many people on TikTok, which by the way guys, remember when I spoke about TikTok a very long time ago before anyone was even on it, and I said you got to get on TikTok, and now it's like this huge thing. So this has been really cool to experience, and I still do love the app. It's really amazing to interact with people on there, and just the culture of the app is really like no other. Anyway, we're not here to talk about how much I love TikTok because I've been talking about this for so many years. I've been seeing a lot of Pedro Pascal edits, right? So I think of Pedro Pascal, I think of like the films that he's been in, or maybe like the style. His style now is very different than it used to be, and it's more like there's definitely someone behind it, right? So there's always like something to connect to that. Definitely be sure to keep up with trends and to think of how you can connect your client or your business or whatever it is you're trying to promote to the current trend that's happening right now. Number 2, we're going to talk about pitching actual story ideas, right? So instead of just pitching your client, pitching whatever it is that you have as it is, pitch an actual story idea. Like spend time on their website, see what their verticals are, see what they're currently covering. Looking at all those things is a great opportunity to integrate your client, but it's also a great opportunity to connect with editors and see what other things they have coming up in the future. If your client isn't a fit for that specific series or that specific like Instagram live schedule or whatever it is that they're doing, you can still connect with them, because if they're doing that, that means that they're probably going to have a couple more series and content styles like that, like content formats like that down the line. So you definitely want to connect with them. It's definitely an opportunity to do that and to ask them, you know, if they're working on something different down the line where you can help. Pitching actual story ideas is something that has always worked really well for me. I remember it used to work so well when I worked in PR because it's like a very strategic form of pitching. You're not just pitching your product for them to do the work. And I always say, like, make it as easy as possible for the editors to say yes to your pitch. If you give them a story idea where you can organically integrate your product or your advice or your services, then that's going to be 1,000 times easier, because they're going to be like, okay, this is a really good story. We can get somebody to work on it, and then they're going to include your client because you were the one to give them that pitch. I mean, the right thing to do, and what I think most editors would do, is include your client, of course, because you were the one that gave them that idea. Number 3, let's talk about expert advice. If you are in an industry where you are working maybe corporate PR, maybe corporate comms or something like that, and you want to position a person you're working with or a client as a leader in this specific industry. Right now, unfortunately, there are so many consistent school shootings everywhere. It's very difficult to cover that topic of school shooting on the topic of gun freedoms and gun control. Unfortunately, we are living in an environment where that's continuing to be a topic of conversation, contention, a topic that people want to explore. So if you're working with a client who is an expert in that field in any different way, I remember a couple weeks ago when the last school shooting happened, we were wanting to provide ways for mothers and for parents to speak to their children about school shootings, and looking for an expert, whether that's a counselor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, like anyone who can kind of help support and guide that conversation. That is your realm. This would be the time to provide those pitches and send over the clients that you're working with who are experts in the field. All right, so those are my 3 things to keep in mind when you're pitching editors this year. And in this wild and crazy world we live in, we're trying to bring some sanity to people and some happiness and some, ways to communicate. For more tips like this, please subscribe to my newsletter. I'm gonna be giving away freebies very soon, all about media, all about pitching, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for clicking on this video. I know I've been gone for a long time, but now I'm back, and just know that I love creating content on YouTube, and I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you clicking on this video, and I will see you back here next time.